Hey guys, John Mooney with the Stock Market Exchange Podcast. I am so excited today to share with you something sort of insane that happened. I'm not gonna be honest. This is probably gonna be one of the toughest episodes I've recorded yet because something really, really weird, like this medical thing happened, and I've never had anything like this happening before, and I couldn't understand like what was going on until I realized this one thing that changed. And I really want you to be able to take this and apply it to your investing. And the biggest thing I want you to think about as I tell you this story, as we go through this episode, think about the situation that got me to where I was. Think about um, the tools that I was using and how some of those tools were not very high quality tools, and they led to some really really crushing results. And you're going to hear about that in a minute. And we understand that like if you want to change the outcome, all you have to do is change the tools you use. All you have to do is change the path you take. All you have to do is increase your education, know what you're doing. And that was something that I didn't do in this regard. And so because of that, you guys are going to hear in a minute. Like I almost went to the hospital. It's kind of insane. So with that said, I will see you after the intro. I'm so excited. So the big question is this: how do investors like us, who don't have a PhD in finance or millions to start investing, how do we grow our bank accounts to build real savings and retirements and yet still have the time to do what we really love? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. Awesome! All right. So here's the deal. You guys know like fitness is so huge. It's just massive. And like honestly, I remember talking to Carter, and he was like literally saying that it is not even an option if you want to succeed in investing. Like you just it's like you need to work out. You need to have control of your body, to have control of your mind, to have control of your state, to have control of your investments. And so because of that, I was inspired to take the workout program that I started probably four years ago, and sort of put it as like a little unadvertised bonus for 9 to noon clients in the members area for people to get the book, which is super, super exciting because you should totally get the book. It's the coolest thing ever. And I thought it'd be kind of a nice little bonus to put in, just kind of on the low key, not a big deal. Because it doesn't really fit the whole finance vibe, but it's such a critical part. I know that it's a really important thing to have, and so I thought it'd be like coolest thing ever to give for free. So I was going through this program that I followed, and it was a total game changer. Like within the span of like 3 months, I went from like I lost like 50 pounds, was super freaking fat, went from totally overweight to just like shredded 6-pack abs. It was amazing. It was game changer, changed my life. And so, I was like, this will totally change other people's lives. And so I'm going through this program, and, it's like video based modules. And I'm like, okay, well, why don't I, do the entire program again? Even though I'm already like super swole, I think, I've got to like type out all the stuff for these modules and type out all the exercise, type out all the instructions to follow. Mostly it's the exercises so that you can kind of look at it on your phone without having to actually watch the video in the gym or something. It's a lot easier, I found. And I used to do it on paper. I would just write out the exercise on paper. And so now, I'll make it digital so people can carry it around with them. It's easier to distribute. So I'm going through and I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do a module a day, and I'll do that workout that day, and I'll follow the program for the next couple of months, because why not? It's a fun program. It's really, really nice. It's one of the most intense workout programs I've personally ever seen in my entire life. I mean, it's kind of insane. The level of intensity it's insane. It's like I usually work out for an hour a day. This stuff's like they're half-hour workouts, and they're like 3 times as exhausting. They're berserk, and that's why they work so well. Which is really, really, really cool. And so, I'm like making this transition from my, just normal workouts to like intense, like this is training core program. And, just nonchalant, 2 nights ago, I guess it was, I'm just taking supplements like MCT oil, protein powder, just some basic stuff like that. I take this one new one that I got in the mail last week. It was like this male enhancement thing. It's supposed to be like super cool. I got it for free with freebie key, which is super exciting. And so, I'm like, okay, well, I'll get it, try it out. And I made this huge mistake of not looking at what was in the supplement. I thought it was just goat whey, and on the front of it said goat whey. And so I'm like, okay, cool, it's like protein. So I take it 2 nights ago, and about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I go to bed. And then I wake up at like midnight, and I can't fall back asleep. And I like this doesn't happen to me. Like I don't wake up in the middle of the night unless I'm really, really, really excited about something like trading stocks or writing a book. But right now, like I'm just doing a bunch of homework, so it's not like that exciting. Making courses and stuff, and I'm making courses on the weekend. And so, like I'm not like I was so weirded out. So I'm sitting on my phone, like looking at, I think I was looking at investing, probably checking out my texts. I get so many freaking texts, insane. There's just so many women everywhere. It's berserk and a lot to keep up with. So I spent like probably about half hour, 45 minutes just like going through stuff. And then I still can't fall asleep. And just, as a sidebar, like if you guys want to fall asleep, like probably a good thing to do is not listen to your phone or look at your phone, which was probably my first mistake. But it's weird because I usually I never ever wake up in the middle of the night. It just doesn't happen. And so it's like 2 a.m. and I'm like, all right, well, I can't really fall back asleep. I tried to fall back asleep for like 40 minutes. It just didn't work, which never happens. It was so weird. And so I'm like, you know what? There's a couple of modules on the Think and Grow Rich Masterclass I need to kind of re-render the screencastings for at the time. And so, I'm like, okay, well, let me re-render these modules and go through some of this course content so I can deliver the best product to the marketplace. And so, I spent a couple of hours doing that, which is super, super exciting. I finished it, which was awesome. And then, I just started working on some homework and stuff. Not as exciting, but it's you gotta kind of do it. So, um, and then it's like 5 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll just trade some. I traded some crypto, which is actually kind of exciting. I haven't traded crypto in a while, at least not like intraday. But I saw some really good setups. Bitcoin did a split recently to BTG. It wasn't like a split; it was just a Bitfinex Bitfinex did like a split currency, and so there's just a lot of phenomenal trading opportunities there because there's a lot of volatility since it's a new token, a new coin, and there's a lot of spreads between exchanges that you can really profit on. Like there's like 5% spreads between exchanges that you can just like sell instantly. It takes like 10 seconds plus a minute to transfer the transaction, and you make 5%. It's really, really nice. So definitely a cool little investment right there. And then I spend, it's like 5:45. I'm like, okay, I'm done with trading, done with all the other stuff, all the courses. I spent 15 minutes, like I said, turning those videos into actual workout plans by going through the video and everything, which is super exciting. And then I'm like, okay, cool. And then I go to the gym, and basically it's like an 8-minute walk to the gym from where which my dorm is, right? And so, I leave Woodruff North. I start walking. I'm recording a podcast, so I know that it's 8 minutes. I recorded an 8-minute podcast. And I get to the gym and I follow just like normal. Like I said, I've done this, many, 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 many times before. This is not like a new workout program or anything. And so, I finished the first day. The first day of the first section of this workout program is probably the most intense like workout you can do humanly possible. I mean, it's really intense. It's like the most intense part of, I would say, the entire training program, especially since you're starting out, not being used to the intensity of the program. Like the first day is like the hardest thing you ever do. If you get over the first day, like it's like overcoming like the first year college. Like it's like the first day is the weed out, and all I have to do is overcome the first day. And so, I do the first day. It takes me like 35 minutes. It's freaking insanely intense. I could not believe it. Was crazy, crazy, crazy. I love it. It was amazing, very impactful. And then, something weird happens. Like usually, I work out and then I can the gym's downstairs. So you have to walk back upstairs. There's an elevator, but I refuse to take the elevator because I don't think you should take a freaking elevator in the gym. And so I'm walking up these stairs and I walk upstairs, and it was so weird because I was like grabbing onto the handrail and I was like so tired. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, okay, well, probably one of the reasons is because like half of today was leg day, sort of, kind of, and a lot of rows and squats. At least some of them, there's a lot of, it's a kind of a complicated little thing. That's why it works so well. But like I walk up half the stairs and I'm exhausted, and I sit down on the stairs for like 4 minutes. Then I get back up and I walk up the rest of the stairs. I'm like, dude, that was so weird. And then, I'm walking towards the door to exit the gym, and I'm like, holy crap, my stomach's like, it feels like so empty. And I was like, it was the weirdest feeling. I like never had that feeling because I've trained myself to live off of lipids. I've trained myself to live off of proteins, and those are supposed to have like super, super, super long lasting energy spurts, versus carbs, which are kind of like, if you think about like a fire, like carbs are kind of like throwing, it's something I heard from my mentor. It was the coolest thing ever. It's like carbs are like, throwing leaves on a fire, and, proteins are kind of like throwing logs on a fire, and fats are like the best ever. It's like throwing coal into a fire and it burns forever and ever and ever. And so I'm used to like eating a ton of fat and a ton of protein, and it works really, really well. It gives me insane amounts of energy. And it like ketosis and everything about it's amazing. And so Not necessarily the same diet for the workout program. I probably have to switch over to that, and this is probably like one of the reasons why. So I was kind of lacking a little bit of energy. You need a little bit of carbs, just because it is so like insanely intense. I mean, it's nothing like run. Like I could run like 25 miles and not have the same level of exhaustion. It's kind of crazy. So anyway, I'm like walking to the door of the gym and I'm excited. I can't even feel my legs. Like I'm grabbing onto the railing. So like fall down in a chair for like another 5 minutes. It was the weirdest thing ever. And then after that, I get up and I start walking and walking to back to my dorm and back to where breakfast is, which is right across the street at the dining hall. And I get like 15 feet out of the gym and I'm like so tired. I sit down on the bike rack outside the gym and I'm like lying on the ground, pantsing. I couldn't, like, it was insane. Um, and to an extent, I was kind of used to that because, like, I've been through this program many times before, like I said, and I'm pretty used to, like, lying on the ground, panting, exhausted after a workout, but not for, like, more than 2 minutes. I mean, it's really intense, but, like, you should be able to walk after it. Um, anyway, so I lay there and I lay there and I lay there. I'm like, what is going on? I'm like just dead. And I think about like renting like one of those or like a birds or a scooter, like one of the scooters, right? But I don't have a helmet, and I really, really, really feel bad. And I know that like it's wet outside, and it had been raining, and if I like my legs twitch or I slip on a turn, like I could seriously hurt myself without a helmet. I didn't have a helmet, so I wasn't really gonna like risk that. And so I started walking back to the dorm, and long story short, like this is usually an 8 minute walk. I like have to stop because I'm so tired and just sit down like four, five, six times on the way back, and it takes me like 40 minutes to get back there. It's insane. It was just ridiculous. Like I would just stop. I couldn't walk anymore. And then I get to breakfast. I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I need. Like I need this food. I need food. I need food. I need food. I need food. And they open at 6 for breakfast, and I got there at like 6 o'clock, and or like a little bit after. So it was like 6:10. Sometimes they open a little bit late just because people have to get there and make the food and stuff. And so I wait a little bit later, and then they open, and I'm like the third person in line. So I'm waiting and waiting in line, and I get up to the front. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I like cannot feel my hands right now. I've been like lying on the floor for 5-6 minutes, just like sitting on the floor because I couldn't stand up. It was insane. I couldn't believe it. And like I had this I was like lightheaded. I couldn't feel my hands. It was so freaking weird. I'd never felt anything like this before in my life. And I stood up and I was like, pointing and pointing to the food and saying, food, sausage or whatever. Turkey sausage, because I mean, just protein, right? And eggs and like food, please, bacon. I need food. And usually, like the people that are there are so used to me being like insanely nice to them because I'm always insanely nice to them because they're insanely nice to me. And they're the nice people ever. And they're like, holy crap, something's so weird right now because it was like never how I'd normally act. But what was so weird is like I couldn't feel my feet, I couldn't feel my hands, like my body was shaking, and I had no clue what was going on. Like it was so weird. I was like lightheaded. I couldn't hold my face up, and my hands, they were like compressing, and I couldn't expand my hands. They were like clenching into like these like linear balls, and they were stuck together, and I couldn't move them. It was so crazy. And then my feet, like I got the food like really, really, really quick, and the lady was like, wow, that's really weird. And then like as soon as I got it, like my legs started tensing up, and I couldn't feel my freaking legs. It was the weirdest thing ever. And there's like 4 people in front of me in line. Like I have to push through those people, and I stumble my way over to like a table really quickly, and I sit down, and like, I couldn't feel my feet or my hands. Like they were so tight, I couldn't move them. It's insane. And like I said, like everyone at the dining hall knows me. Like everyone, we're all friends and stuff because I'm always so nice to everybody, and they're always so nice to me. They're nice people ever. And so like one of my good friends, Lynn, she sees me. She's like, "Oh my gosh, what's wrong? What do you need?" I'm like, "I like water. I need water or something." And then like I couldn't feel my stomach. I couldn't feel like any part of my body. I couldn't feel. Like I couldn't eat. Like I thought I needed food, but I wasn't like physically able to like pick up the food because I couldn't move my hands, and my face. Oh, it was so awful. I start like I kind of like fist my fists around this water cup and try to like drink this water, and it was insane. Like at that point, the lightheadedness started really, really taking in. Like I couldn't like feel my head. It was like requiring almost the amount of energy that it takes to curl like 45 on like a plate on bar to like lift my head up. It was insane. And I could not believe, like, I had never felt this before. I couldn't feel my hands, couldn't feel my feet, and it was just crazy. I tried lying down, I tried sitting up, I tried, extending my feet, setting my hands, and like the lunch people at this point, they were like, "Holy crap, what's going on?" I had, like, two people aside me trying to like help me stretch myself out. I could not like move my hand. It was the weirdest thing ever. And, eventually they're like, "Well, dude, I don't know what's going on here." I had no clue what was happening. And they had no clue what was happening. So they call 911, and they get the campus police and the Georgia police, and it was so crazy. And so they come into the dining hall. I can't move. And they have like a stretcher, they have, a medic, like probably like 5 or 6 or 7 medics, like 3 police officers, the craziest thing ever. They all thought I was like super high or like on drugs and stuff. And I was like, "No, I promise it's not what happened. Like, I don't know what's going on. I have no freaking clue." And we sit there for like half an hour, and my body starts to like decompress or something. It was the weirdest thing ever. They take like my blood, they take my pressure, they take like they literally got like an EKG out. Like I was like, shirtless in the middle of the dining hall as they like record my vitals on site. And first of all, it looked amazing, but like the biggest thing was like it was insane. I had no clue what was going on. I was so freaking out. And after about 40 minutes, like it starts to sort of fade away a little bit. My hands start to loosen up. My feet start to loosen up. My lightheadedness, it starts to go away. I can sort of like see what's going on. I have control over my body again. And this awful, awful, awful experience that like literally left me unable to stand, starts to fade away for some reason. I don't know why. And I was so, so, so thankful, so grateful, that it faded away, and they did some more tests, and they decided that they couldn't really figure out what was wrong or what happened. And I had no clue what was wrong. I had no clue what happened. They're like, "Did you drink water?" I'm like, "Yeah, I drink 3 gallons of water a day, 2 gallons of water a day." I'm drinking plenty of water. Like, "Yeah, we can see you're not dehydrated." They thought it might have been anxiety, but like, I'm not anxious. Like, all I want to do is trade stocks and I'm good. And they're like, "We don't see any of the signs of anxiety in you at all," which totally makes sense. And they had like no clue what else it could be. And they were like, "Do you have calcium?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got calcium." And it was so weird because like my hands were like, oh, it was so tight and shaking, and just the weirdest thing I'd ever felt. It was like tremors. I couldn't understand it, but it went away. And they're like, "Okay, well, we don't really know what have you like. Is this never happened before?" They had no clue what it was, and then it just kind of went away. Um, and it wasn't drugs or anything, and so they were like, "We don't see anything that's like wrong with you. Like, we don't know what to tell you." And they offered to take me to the hospital. And I was like, and that was about an hour afterwards. And at that point, like I was better. I could stand, and I wasn't tingling anymore. And I was like, "I don't know. I think I should just go to sleep. Like, I don't know if I need to go to the hospital and pay hospital bills. Like I don't know." So I ask them what they think, and they say to chill out and stuff. And so I chill out, and they're like, "When did you eat?" And I'm like, "I ate last night before bedtime at 6:30." And they're like, "Okay." And the dining hall opens at 6 a.m. So like it's the closest time I could come to get food. I didn't have any protein powder. I'm low on protein powder, so it's kind of like I didn't really have any of the good protein powder. So I didn't have any pre-workout, which, by the way, like obviously, definitely big mistake there. Like definitely should always, 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 always. And I usually do, like every single day. I usually wake up, and the first thing I do is have a protein shake and a green shake and some coconut oil or some kind of fat like MCT oil, and any other supplements that I need. Those are kind of the big ones. And I didn't have that this morning because I woke up at 2 for some freaking reason. And so anyway, I was like, I'm gonna sleep, I'm gonna eat my breakfast. And so they're like, "Okay, sign this waiver," and then they leave. And so they leave, everyone leaves, everyone's like, "Okay, well, I'm glad you're okay." They take the stretcher out of the freaking dining hall. It's like a full stretcher. It's insane. I was like so freaked out. And so I sit down trying to figure out what's going on. Thankfully, I didn't have any class that morning. I don't have class Tuesday, Thursday in the morning, which is nice. I can kind of trade stocks and stuff. Um, and I'm like, "All right, well, I guess I'm done." So I go back to sleep, or I go back to the dorm, and it's like 8 o'clock. I sleep till 10 o'clock. I wake up. I have tests and stuff like that in the afternoon. And I come home at night, and I'm thinking, like, what's going on? Like, what could have caused this? And then I realized that it was the first time I'd ever taken one of those new supplements that I got. And so I grab the supplement bottle, and I turn it over to the back, and the first thing I see is this disclaimer that says contains caffeine. 1 pill, which is what I took, this is a normal dosage, contains about half a cup of coffee's worth of caffeine. And like caffeine's a drug. Like, I don't drink caffeine. I don't consume caffeine. Like I don't have caffeine. And I like it instantly clicks like, holy crap, this officer, the medics, they constantly be asking me if there's anything different about my workouts, anything different about my diet, anything different about my routine than what it normally was. And I'd be like, no, 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 nothing's been different, 'cause I didn't think anything different. And I realized looking at this bottle that the difference was I had freaking caffeine. And I think that's what caused all this pain. And it makes so much sense now, because that was what made me wake up early. That was what kept me so hyper. That was what like made me my hands shake and my tremors and my blood not flow and my hands turn blue, my face white because pale because there wasn't blood because of caffeine. And so the huge take. First of all, the first thing I did was throw that bottle away like it was on fire. I mean, I just oh gosh, I felt it's terrible. I throw it away. And I realized that it's a lot of people when they approach their investing portfolios, when they approach their assets, like they're going to the store and they're hiring a financial advisor without really understanding what's inside of the plan. They're investing in investment vehicles without really understanding what underlies the assets. They're purchasing investments that they don't actually understand. I remember talking to Carter. He was like getting into Bitcoin without actually knowing anything about blockchain. And he made he made a couple $1,000, but for him it was super scary and super risky because he didn't actually know what was inside of what he was investing in. And most people, when they invest, at least in the long term, when things they don't know, like they get screwed over because they get freaked out if it goes down a little bit. And versus investing in a company you're really loyal in, and then example with good examples with AMD. Like I invested in them at like 12, 13 bucks, 14 bucks. Then they went down to 10 bucks. Like most people, if it goes down 40%, they freak out and sell. Like my dad freaked out and sold because he copied my investing, because my investing is phenomenal, phenomenal. And then like 2 years later, not 2 years later, I think it was like the next year, they triple. And I was still in that position. Why? Because I knew the company, because I knew it was inside of the investment. And so I look at this back of the bottle and I'm like, I realized that like I didn't actually know what was inside of what I was taking. I didn't know what was inside of my own medicine. And because of that, like I almost went to the hospital. Like I endangered myself past any reasonable expectation because I put like this drug of caffeine in my body, which was awful. It was just terrible. And so the big takeaway, the huge message here is that you need to know what you're getting into, what you're putting in your body, what you're putting in your portfolio, what you're putting in your own future, because you create it by forging the ingredients you put into a stew. Like if you want to make a really great dinner, like start with really great ingredients, and it's going to be so much easier to actually create a quality end result. It's the same thing with any kind of investments that you're doing in your portfolio, that you're doing in yourself, that you're doing in your assets, that you're doing with your time. Like you've got to understand what is in the vehicle and get the education behind the stocks, behind the investments, behind the funds, behind the crypto, behind the supplements, whatever it is. You've got to actually know what you're doing, because if you don't, I was lucky. I walked out of the situation okay, and I passed out for a couple of hours, and that was that. Kind of a funny story. It's not that funny, but since I was up at 2 a.m., I decided to look at stocks for a little bit. And I put a couple of puts in on AMD. They're about $50 right now. So maybe in a couple of months, maybe 6 months, maybe a year, hopefully, if everything goes right, they'll kind of come back down to their moving averages at about 20. And I'll be able to say that I made, a couple grand while I was passed out, dead asleep, feeling like I was going to explode. Because I was asleep at 9:30 when the options order executed. So that might be a fun story I can tell you guys in about half a year. But besides that, like the big thing is to just frankly like know what you're doing, and be smart, understand what you're actually doing. And that's the message. That's the goal today. So please, please, please don't end up in the physical hospital. Don't end up in the financial hospital. Don't end up in, any place you don't want to be in because you take an accidental path there. You want to be intentional, and you want to know what you're doing. Like I know everything about MC2 oil. I know everything about the protein powder. I absolutely adore. I know everything about the green juices that I consume, but I didn't know anything about this pill I took. And it almost cost me. I don't even know. Like I don't. I don't, do caffeine. It's a drug, and you don't want to be dependent on a freaking drug. And it was just a surreal experience, and one that really had me scared, very, very fearful for my medical well-being. So I hope you guys got a lot of value out of the podcast. Go out there, apply it, absolutely crush it, and hopefully you learn a ton from this sort of game-changing experience. And honestly, like, just take it and just crush it, apply it with it. I'm just super pumped to share it with you. So with that said, thank you guys so much for listening. Really, really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Yay! Or hopefully I'll see you in the 9 to noon members area for clients that get the book, because then you can like follow the workout program, which is the best workout program on the planet. Like, this is no diss on the workout program. You just kind of have to know what you're doing and get into it with the right mindset. And you should be awesome. I don't know. I just love it. It's so good. Definitely nothing on that. It was all my fault. And you have to take responsibility. You have to be able to say, look, it was my fault. I'm taking the blame. I'm going to throw away the supplements. I'm going to get out of this bad investment. I'm going to sell my stock. I am going to have the punishment of wasting, $20 on a bottle of supplements, or $40 on investment fees, or maybe a couple $100 on a loss. Like, you have to be willing to take that blame and move on from it. And so that's sort of exactly what I'm doing right now. And hopefully you guys can take that and apply it too, because mindset is critical. And that's why I'm so excited to be able to share with you on this podcast the underlying psychology of investing success. So with that said, thank you guys so much. And I'll see you in, I guess, 9 noon members area, which is kind of exciting. Bye. Want more stock market secrets? If so, you'll get your free copy of my best-selling book, 9 to Noon. You get your free copy plus $11,176 of unannounced bonuses. It took me years to uncover, completely for free at 9tonoonsecrets.com. Inside 9 to Noon, you'll find the top 38 secrets you can use to double your portfolio every 2 years and make upwards of 10% daily.